News about a possible accident involving a CCP nuclear submarine in which the entire crew of 55 may have perished while on a mission in the Yellow Sea in August is still gathering steam. Due to the non-transparent information from China, there is no clarity on what happened. With all sorts of rumors online, what's the more credible story? We'll explore this topic in this episode. As early as August 22, 2023, a submarine expert in the U.S. Navy posted the news on the social media platform X, but he cautioned in his post, "So far, not seen any convincing evidence to support the rumor, and treat topic with caution." Soon, another rumor claimed that the accident was supposed to have happened on August 20th, when the Long March 15, a Type 093 nuclear submarine belonging to the Northern War Zone, accidentally exploded during an underwater weapons test in the Yellow Sea, resulting in the loss of life of hundreds of officers and soldiers. The Long March 15 belongs to the improved Type 093B nuclear submarine, which was only commissioned in 2017 and is a fairly new warship. On August 31st, a Chinese Defense Ministry spokesman briefly responded, saying that it was purely a rumor. By mid-September, several overseas Chinese media reported that the Long March 15 was supposed to return to its base at the end of August. The officers and soldiers on board were supposed to be on normal leave at the beginning of September were late in returning home. Their family members who didn't see them come home started asking around, so the outside world began to have suspicions. On September 12th, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense held a press conference on the Republic of China 112 Years of National Defense Report. The media raised questions about whether or not the Ministry of National Defense was aware of the relevant development concerning the matter. A Major General of Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense responded, "Relevant information must be highly confidential. The Ministry of National Defense is in possession of the relevant details, but because of the sensitive nature of the matter, it isn't convenient to disclose." This vague answer gives the public room for imagination. The real bombshell news was published on October 3rd. Britain's Daily Mail reported that according to a classified MI5 report, China's Type 093 Shang-class nuclear submarine in August hit a submarine chain and anchor barrier used by the Chinese Navy to encircle or trap the US and its allies, causing the submarine systems to malfunction. The accident ultimately resulted in 55 crew members losing their lives to oxygen deprivation. Immediately afterwards, on October 4th, The Times of the UK also followed up with a similar report. According to The Times, British intelligence said the nuclear submarine number 093-417 was on a mission in the Yellow Sea on August 21st when it hit a trap, causing a failure in the oxygen supply system and resulting in the loss of life of the entire crew. It describes the identity and background of the crew members very clearly, including 22 officers, 7 officer cadets, 9 petty officers, and 17 sailors, and the deceased also included the ship's captain, Colonel Shui-Yong Peng. The information is very specific. For example, the deceased captain was the seat instructor of the Chinese submarine and the highest-ranking examiner of the nuclear submarine examination. The cadets he brought with him were the backbone of China's future nuclear submarines. Among the deceased officers, there was a PhD from the School of Oceanography, University of Washington in 2010. He was a world authority on oceanic current engineering, similar to Qian Shuaxian. Qian was a former colonel in the U.S. Air Force who played a major role in Red China's 2 bombs, 1 satellite project. That is, the atomic bomb and the intercontinental ballistic missile plus the artificial satellite. The fallen officers and soldiers of the nuclear submarine were buried in the cemetery of Liaogongdao, which is 4 kilometers away from the port of Weihai. If the above information is true, how did the top-secret information of 093 leak out? We will analyze this later. For now, let's continue with the UK media's coverage of this story. The Chinese Type 093 submarine is an attack nuclear submarine. The first submarine of this type was launched in December 2003 with an underwater volume of about 7,000 tons and a maximum diving depth of 300 meters. Equipped with 6 torpedo tubes and armed with various types of torpedoes, mines, and submarine-launched anti-ship missiles, it is China's second-generation nuclear submarine. So far, 6 of these submarines have been built. It is one of the more modern submarines, known for its lower noise level and higher performance, and is among the most heavily armed mainstay nuclear attack submarines. Reports in the British media claim that the nuclear attack submarine 093-417 was on a mission in the Yellow Sea when it struck a chain and anchor obstacle used by the Chinese Navy to trap submarines of the US and its allies. The submarine was unable to surface because of a catastrophic failure of the oxygen system after it became trapped. In other words, the Chinese submarine fell into a trap that was used to ensnare US and Taiwanese submarines and warships, thus causing the system to malfunction. The CCP military calls this underwater obstacle system KELP. It has a reverse bow design made of carbon fiber material. It's an elastic device like a pole for pole vaulting and can't be detected by underwater sonar and radar. Fixed on an anchor, once a submarine passes by, the touch switch will be activated. It can even get tangled up in the submarine's propeller, causing it to ground. The CCP military has installed a number of these KELP in the Yellow Sea. According to the report, the nuclear submarine 093-417 was on a mission to train the submarines from the CCP's first submarine base, the Qingdao Base, and the second submarine base, Yalong Bay Base, in cooperative warfare. Coordinated operations involve cooperating with the aircraft carrier to conduct loading and diving tests, with technical officers and soldiers from the 2 submarine bases inside. These officers and technicians were all technical backgrounds who had served on submarines for almost 20 years. It can be said that the CCP's nuclear submarine technical backbones were wiped out by the regiment this time. The Chinese Communist authorities haven't publicly confirmed the sinking of the submarine. What is basically certain is that there was a serious accident, but the details are yet to be verified. The corresponding thread is that the nuclear submarine went down on August 20th or 21st, and Xi Jinping, the CCP leader, left for South Africa on August 21st to attend the BRICS summit. He was unexpectedly absent from the business forum on August 22nd. Is there a possibility that Xi was absent because of the submarine accident? A national security emergency such as the nuclear submarine accident can logically explain Xi's absence. Submarine accidents in the Chinese military aren't without precedent. A more recent one was on April 16, 2003, when 70 officers and men on board a 361 submarine of the Chinese Navy lost their lives as a result of a mechanical failure during a drill in the Yellow Sea. The state news agency Xinhua News Agency didn't report it until May 2nd, without mentioning the exact date it happened. Nearly 2 months after the accident, the Central Military Commission of the CCP issued a directive on personal matters on June 13th, in which several senior officers of the North Sea Fleet were dismissed or demoted. The Navy commander and the Navy's political commissaire were both removed, but the directive made no mention of the 361 submarine disaster. To ensure secrecy, the CCP authorities usually refrain from immediate prosecution, but rather punish or reassign those who are responsible after a period of time and on other grounds. Multiple other clues indicate that the CCP is continuing its internal investigations into the military. Former Chinese Navy commander Lieutenant Colonel Yao Chen said the Daily Mail's claim that China's Type 093 attack nuclear submarine 417 crashed into its own deployed blocking net was impossible.
核潜艇出来，要海军批准。
When a Chinese nuclear submarine comes out, it has to be approved by the Navy, reported to the Military Commission for the Record, and filed with the command post of the General Staff War Department. The plan is very well thought out. If a place is deployed with obstacle equipment, it's impossible for the submarine to go there. This is one reason. The second reason is that after the submarine leaves, its trajectory is constantly tracked and monitored on the command post big screen, minute by minute. If the submarine is heading towards a place like the barricade, the command post will make it change its course and won't let the submarine go near that place. Therefore, I think it's unlikely that a Chinese submarine would crash into something it set up
第二个呢，
itself.
就是这个消息出来以后，还有一个说法，就是让人更不相信的。
In addition, the lieutenant colonel also questioned the claim that the oxygen supply system had stopped working, leading to the death of the people in the submarine due to poisoning and lack of oxygen. The average depth of the Yellow Sea is 44 meters, and the deepest point is only 140 meters. Regular submariners have gone through a lot of training and repeated training in escape skills.
潜艇在海底发生事故以后，
After an accident on a nuclear submarine at the bottom of the ocean, there are two ways to escape. One is the lifeboat, which can seat up to 20 people who can enter, detach from the submarine, and float to the surface of the ocean, waiting for rescue. The second is for the submarine crew to escape from the torpedo tubes, which is a skill that nuclear submarine crews, including conventional submarine crews, have been trained for many times repeatedly.
那么
At a depth of 44 meters, the vessel has to be pressurized in order to withstand the water pressure outside. But the pressurization at this depth won't exceed 0.3 atmospheres, which is the same as the pressurization of a pilot in a cockpit. The pressure of 0.3 atmospheres is the same as the pressure that all normal people can withstand. Therefore, the British media's news is unreliable. It said that the process lasted for 6 hours, more than 50 people died inside the cabin, and none of them came out, which is impossible.
50多个人在里面死掉了，一个没出来，这个是不可能的。
It seems that the lieutenant colonel has completely debunked the claims made by the British media. So, how reliable is the Daily Mail's article? Recently, we came across an argument which seems well-rounded and highly credible to us after examining it in detail. It matches the Daily Mail's report and provides a logical answer to the doubts of the former lieutenant colonel of the Chinese Communist Naval Command. This is attributed to an Australian academic with ties to the CCP system who spoke to overseas Chinese media on October 7, 2023. According to this Australian liberal jurist, he had been following the submarine situation until October 6th, when he received information from a conscientious source within the CCP system. He was informed that the CCP's nuclear submarine did capsize on August 21st at the northern end of the Yellow Sea. The submarine was conducting tests on hypersonic anti-ship missiles at that time. Yuan said that the preliminary findings of the investigation group of the Military Commission indicated that the submarine incident wasn't an accident, but rather a suicidal act to sink the submarine, and that it was created by the crew of the vessel. He said, first, an officer sabotaged the submarine's oxygen supply system. He damaged the oxygen system by means of an explosion while the submarine was sailing under. The suddenness of the incident caused great confusion inside the submarine. Then, the submarine deviated from the original track and ended up entering an underwater trap set by the CCP itself to prevent submarines from the US, Japan, and South Korea, and was trapped there. The captain once ordered the backup oxygen supply equipment to be started immediately, but it failed, causing this accident in the end. Yuan said that a conscientious person within the CCP revealed that the Special Investigation Team of the Central Military Commission initially determined that the incident was probably caused by one or two of the two senior technical officers of the rocket force. The two senior technical officers from the rocket force were on board as tactical and technical instructors. During the submarine's return, the oxygen supply system failed. However, no final confirmation has been made. Due to the complexity of the surrounding sea conditions, the Central Military Commission has ordered that the submarine not be salvaged as a whole, but rather broken down underwater to salvage the equipment inside the vessel in sections. The process hasn't yet been completed. The cause of the incident will only be determined after it's completed. Yuan said, "They don't call it an accident anymore, but an incident because it's not an objective technical problem, but a subjective human-induced suicide incident." From this point of view, Xi Jinping's fear of a mutiny within the military is well-founded, as there are in fact more than enough signs. We previously reported that the CCP's rocket force suffered a major shakeup as officers and soldiers in this branch of the military leaked secrets to the US. because they were afraid that they would be the first to become cannon fodder if a war broke out with Taiwan. Now, let's look at the second problem, the leaks. After all the information about China's rocket force was leaked, the rocket force underwent a major overhaul. Now that the nuclear submarine has sunk and the US and the UK seem well aware of it, what does this mean? After the submarine accident on August 23rd, an American WC-135 warplane known as Constant Phoenix flew north from Southeast Asia to Okinawa, Japan, passing through the area where the nuclear submarine accident was rumored to have happened. On September 6, another WC-135 nuclear reconnaissance aircraft flew directly into the Yellow Sea and the East China Sea to conduct a reconnaissance mission. This shows that the US military has a good grasp of the intelligence on the developments of the CCP side. All of the above should mean that there is a problem of intelligence leakage in the CCP military. The Daily Mail published a report on October 6 claiming that a dissident said, "We got an update from the Central Military Commission. In the classified report, the CCP believes MI6 bugged the Apple Watch of a high-ranking Navy officer in Guangdong Command and caused the leak of the 093-417 accident." This report has been given to President Xi Jinping, and the poor official has been arrested. They want to find a scapegoat with foreign connections. They believe the watch was used to record conversations about the submarine in a naval headquarters. If it's true that this official was arrested, then who else has leaked the information after this official? How could the information on the punishment of this official be leaked, as it's extremely confidential information? If we link the recent arrests in the Chinese military, it isn't difficult to understand the above series of events. Not only were almost all the top brass in the military, including the rocket force, arrested, but there has been a wide range of arrests outside the military as well. A former mainland Chinese media personality broke the news on X that several key CCP armor officials have been arrested. They include Chairman of China National Weapons Group, Chairman of the China Aerospace Science and Industry Group, General Manager of China National Weapons and Equipment Group, Chairman and Secretary of China National Aviation Industry Group, and others. A number of key members of military enterprises have been arrested by the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, CCDI. CCDI has taken control of important members of military enterprises in national defense, military industry, aerospace, and weaponry on a large scale. And this all happened at a time when the CCP is planning to attack Taiwan. It seems rather odd unless a major event has happened. The rocket force accident hasn't been settled, and the CCP's nuclear submarine is in trouble. Coupled with the fact that the incumbent defense minister as well as senior generals in the armament system are rumored to be under investigation, the military is said to be in a state of disaster. Judging from the information made public and leaked out, both in and outside China, there have been frequent leaks from within the CCP over the years, ranging from high-level tug-of-war in the CCP and corruption within the military to internal speeches of the leaders and gossip. It's the reason why all kinds of tidbits of information have been flying all over the place overseas. Obviously, such leakage isn't going to disappear because of the CCP's accelerated left turn and rounds of purges within the party and the military. One can imagine that the successive abnormal movements in the military have given the present CCP leadership a great headache and fear.